Hello. There we go. All right. So Chamy asked myself and Chamy asked me and Brian to say a few words tonight. We're going to see what we can do to make him regret that decision. That was an excellent speech by your uncle, by the way. That was very serious. Mine is not going to be that serious. But I met Chamy. We were 10 years old when we met. So for 26 years, I still haven't been able to get rid of him. But we actually became friends very quickly. We spent a lot of time together, especially in high school, partly because we got along so well, we had a lot in common, but mostly because neither one of us had a girlfriend. It's true. So it was a very big deal when I called him about 11 years ago. I called him from Iran, and I said, Chamy, I met someone over here, and it's just been a couple weeks, but I can see myself marrying this girl. She's really something. And obviously that's pretty quick to think like that after only a few weeks. But Chamy was very supportive. I think his exact words were something like, "Are you crazy?" He said, you've only known her for a couple weeks and you're thinking about marrying her? I said, I didn't say I'm marrying her. I said, I'm thinking that she could be the one. But I'm going to come back to the States and, we're going to call, we're going to talk on the phone and email and, they have webcams now. So we can see each other. And, I'll come back next year and maybe get engaged and then come back the year after and get married. It didn't exactly work out that way. I went back a few months later, kind of got engaged. Went back about 5-6 months after that, and we got married. So the whole thing took about a year. And Chamy couldn't believe it. In fact, he said, yeah, I have to see this for myself. So he flew all the way to Iran to be at my wedding. That's how you know you have a good friend, when someone's willing to fly to Iran. With everything in the news, someone comes to Iran, I said, wow. And for years after that, Chamy would still say to me, man, you took a risk. He said, you only saw her for a few weeks combined, and the whole thing, in a year you got married. He would say that for several years, and then a couple years ago, he stopped saying it. It was about 2 years ago. He says to me, hey, I met someone, and I really like her, and she's great. And I said, well, this is great. How did you meet? He said, well, we haven't really met face to face. And I said, what do you mean you meet face to face? You mean back to back? And he said, well, we met online. We've been talking, on the phone. And I said, oh, well, this is, how serious can this be? You haven't even seen her yet. He said, well, no, we're talking on the phone. We're emailing. There's webcams now. And I said, man, this sounds familiar. So a few weeks went by, a couple months went by, and every time he'd talk about her, and I could see he was excited. And I said, this sounds like it's getting pretty serious. He said, yeah, I'm going to go this summer. I'm going to go to Sri Lanka and meet her, and we might get engaged, or I might go back later and get engaged, and then go back the next year and get married. Something like that. I don't remember exactly what he said, because what I was noticing was the way that he was saying it, the way that he sounded, was very similar to myself. And I said, I think I said it to him once. I said, this is not going to take 1 or 2 years for you. It's going to be done quick. I could tell. Same thing that I went through. And sure enough, he went back in the summer, and he got to see her, and then he came back to the States. He came over to my house. And he asked for some help. My wife helped with the immigration forms and everything for a fiancé visa. So after we filled all that out, and we had to write a letter, on his behalf. I helped him with the letter on how they met. You got to provide documentation, all that stuff. Get the right fee. He calls me one day, the day that he was going to send out the application. He calls me and he says, I said, hey, did you send it? He said, well, I was going to send it today, but funny thing happened. I was having breakfast with your parents, right? And I told them I'm about to send the fiancé visa forms out, and they said, fiancé visa? You guys are already married. So, he might be the only man in history who got married and can't blame beer or alcohol or anything. He didn't remember. I said, how did you not know? He said, no, I knew. She told me. She told me. She didn't trick me. I mean, I knew, but I don't know. I still don't know how that happened. But anyway, I can say for the rest, if he said it to me for a few years, I can say it for the rest of our lives. I'm not going to. But you said I was crazy. But sometimes we do things that seem crazy to other people. But when you meet someone like Chamy met and I met, you don't necessarily need to be with somebody for 5 years to realize how special they are and to realize that this is who you want to spend the rest of your life with. So I'm very happy for you. I know exactly what you went through. I congratulate you. And I wish you the best. And kids and everything, you know. It's not a competition, but just to clarify, you know, for the record, Brian and I both have 2 kids. It's not a competition. For those of you who don't speak English too well, Brian is going after me. He's going to translate to Sinhalese for you. But again, thank you. It was I got to return the favor this summer, and I went to Sri Lanka to his wedding, and almost 10 years to the day later, it was amazing going there and being at his wedding for that. So I love you both. I wish you the best.
All right, well, again, I'm Brian. Been friends with, need to clarify with Mohssen. We took most of the same math classes together, but we met when we were 9, making it 27 years we've been friends. Maybe you skipped a year for us. When first met Chamy, we had similar interests: recess, PE, lunch. We excelled at all 3. Unfortunately, the one that stuck the most is lunch. But through the years, Chamy and I played on many sports teams together and excelled sometimes, didn't excel at other times. But we shared a lot of good memories doing it. And through that, we became good friends outside, and we've done quite a number of things, and I think I can say with near certainty that there's not anyone in this room that Chamy hasn't dropped everything he's doing at one time to do a favor for. He's always been there, regardless if he has something else going on. For example, a wedding reception. But again, he's selfless to a fault, and he's been there for me and my family, and I've appreciated all along. And if I have one piece of wedding advice for Chamy and Ashi, specifically Chamy, it would be if there's a soccer game and a wedding ceremony again, I would say skip it. That is the best advice I think I can give. But again, just love each other in your words and your actions every day, and every day will be a blessing. And if you do have a firstborn son, Robert Griffin, the third Gujarati is a good name. So I'd like to propose a toast, even though I don't have anything. Cheers to many happy years to Chamy and I.
That's right, guys. Let's get up for one more time, Brian and Mohssen. Come on, let's get some louder, baby, louder. Come on. There you go. And at this time, I got the brother of the groom. How do you like that? I wonder what he's got to say, but I got something for him. All right. Let's do that one more time, guys, to the brother. Shawn.
Thanks everyone for coming to this special occasion. There's a lot of people here, but for the wedding, 95% of you weren't here because of what reason? I mean, it's just in Sri Lanka. 2 days to get there, a couple thousand, it wasn't a big deal, right? But it was definitely a beautiful wedding. Homecoming was great. A couple of you guys from Mohssen was there, Miran, my cousins, it was definitely wonderful. If you see the pictures, you might see it up there. He did have this pimp suit. Yeah, it's an Indian suit. He kind of looked like the Maragama prince. But on a serious note, my brother, he's always had my back since I was born. Mom and dad. Chamar, Upuchanda. I mean, seriously, like, if my brother wasn't there for me, I would have been like Naleen, Gamage. I would, I'm so happy he was there to give me a normal name, like, knowing Shawn. I mean, I know from, elementary or high school, people butchering his name, like Chamara. Did you guys know his name was Chamara? My brother's always been there for me. I mean, since he was the first one born, he could get all the things he wanted, like going to his friend's house, playing sports, sleepovers, all that stuff. But he's always been there for me in the back. Every time I wanted something, he would, we would fight about it. My parents and I, my brother's like, come on, just let him play sports, let him go out. So he's always done that for me, and I appreciate it. He's been a coach, trainer for me. I remember middle school basketball. Where's Brian at? Brian used to be my coach in middle school. So winter times, my brother would open the garage. We would actually practice basketball in the garage and do drills until I finally figured out how to dribble the ball, crossovers, things like that. Let's see what else. Ashi. Now you're in the family. I still haven't forgotten. I'm trying to Americanize you. It's going to take a couple of months, but I mean, we'll get there. It's hard work. Remember, with me, it's English. Let's see what else should I say about this guy. Oh, if you guys didn't know, Chamara is Mr. DIY over here. Always wants to do projects at his house. And guess who's involved? Myself. Let's see, building a closet, a patio, painting. I mean, he tells me, he's like, it's good practice when you get your house. I'm like, I don't need practice. He's just trying to use me. But, I love you guys both to death. It'll be, happy memories for the rest of your life. Don't do anything my parents have done, please. Okay? But I love you guys to death, and cheers to Chamy and Usher.
Let's do it up for the